From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Ants Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Here is what I am watching here as we go into the afternoon hours here. For Wednesday night into Thursday, we've got the potential for flooding. And really, it's going to be Thursday night into Friday that we'll see that potential for flooding, because eventually that rain kicks in. We see a little bit of that delayed response, and then we start to see that potential for flooding. And on top of that, maybe some mudslides and debris flows are not out of the question either. We also have heavy snow, especially in some of the higher elevations, that could lead to chain requirements and maybe even closures in some areas here. We're also going to be looking at some gusty winds. Those will be coming in later tonight, tomorrow, and looking at gusts 30, even 40 miles per hour. Can't rule out an isolated area that could see maybe some power outages as well. And what I don't have illustrated here is also the potential for thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon as well. But today's kind of the preparation day, the day before the storm, if you will, because we are going to see an increase in cloud cover. It's still going to be cool out there in the low 50s for the coast and the valley. Elsewhere in the 30s for the mountains, although in Trinity County, temperatures in the mid 40s. So we have this big stream of moisture coming in. Now, this source of moisture is way out over the western Pacific. Here it is, right here, originating here in the western Pacific, making its all the way here into the eastern Pacific. Now, what's going to happen is the area of low pressure right here is going to dig to the south, and we'll kind of get cut off from that main flow of moisture. However, we still have a lot of that leftover moisture coming in, and you can see how it just kind of spreads along the coast here. So essentially what's going to happen is this area of low pressure is going to tap into that warm subtropical air, moisture, and that's going to be the moisture source for the low elevation snow, the heavy rainfall that we're also expected to see as well. Then that pushes off to the east, and that atmospheric river pushes to the south into Southern California. And then we've got to watch this as we go into the weekend, and even more atmospheric rivers are a possibility for parts of next week as well. So here's a look at Futurecast. Here you can see, of course, you've got the cold front here. This is where we have that warmer air, and of course the warmer air kind of moving in. So this right here is the colder air. So this is all moving in. So you've got that subtropical moisture. That's the atmospheric river. That's mainly pointed towards central and southern California, really central California, out towards San Francisco and Sacramento, right? Behind it, we got the colder air. That rotation around that low is helping to draw in that warmer air on top of the colder air. And that's why I expect snow levels to start off fairly low here for tonight and early tomorrow morning. This pushes to the east here, and we see more scattered showers on Friday. Snow levels a little bit higher on Friday, but the cooler air is still in place, so we will see that snow in the mountains. Taking into the weekend, high pressure will be the dominant feature for Saturday, but then by Sunday, a weak system passes through. Monday, a weak system pushes through us as well. Dry by next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, another system passes to our north. So essentially, once we get past tonight and tomorrow, anything we see beyond that is expected to be very light, especially for Sunday and Monday and even Wednesday of next week. So the main event will be tonight and tomorrow. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast here. In fact, I got a little button happy there. Let's take you to Futurecast here. This is our in-house forecast model. Now, some of the things and some of the trends that I'm noticing as we look at this are the same trends that we saw last week, which leads me to believe that at some point in time, we will see at the very least a rain-snow mix for places like Redding and maybe as far south as Red Bluff, and at maybe a certain point in time, all snow. But looking at Futurecast, it's about 10 o'clock tonight. Through the evening into tonight, we start to see this begin to spread in over the region. We're not seeing a lot of activity at 10 o'clock tonight to the north and east, but you can see the snow east of the valley, north of the valley, and west of the valley as well. At this point, I think we could see snow around Hayfork and Weaverville, and maybe even some accumulating snow on top of that. You'll notice this model is not very aggressive with the potential for snow in the valley. You can see it gets a little bit closer here to the north, but otherwise pretty far to the west of the valley here, and of course east as well. Now, it does begin to kind of inch a little bit closer here overnight into the early morning hours. Here's 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. You see how we're starting to see that move a little bit closer. This is the same trend that I saw last week, And even though it's not showing snow directly over the valley, we could see that mix, much like what we saw last week. 5, 6 a.m., we're starting to see that colder air begin to mix out, and snow levels will probably start to rise through the morning hours on Thursday and into the afternoon. But then we have another round of moisture, another batch of moisture coming in that's going to bring us another round of moderate to heavy rainfall at times. Could see some isolated thunderstorms in the valley. Notice Hayfork and Weaverville, now it's in the form of rain as we go into midday. So any snow, any accumulating snow you see in these lower mountain communities, when it transitions over to rain, that snow is going to very quickly melt off. But we're still seeing a lot of snow, say between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. So that means chain requirements as early as tonight, tomorrow morning, and through a good portion of the day tomorrow as well. There's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Again, we're seeing some of that snow in the higher elevations between 3,000 and 4,000 feet, maybe an isolated thunderstorm for parts along the coast and even in the valley. Here we are, we go into Thursday night and into Friday morning. Again, we're really starting to see more of that snow in the higher elevations. Could still see some more chain requirements Friday morning. Snow levels may drop a little bit as that colder air kind of passes through to our north. And then once that system pushes off to the east, you see how things are drying out over us. And I do expect drier conditions by Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and not to mention Saturday. All right, so you saw the timing of when that snow could be making its way into the valley. Let's take a look at the HRRR forecast. And this is the latest forecast model data coming in. 10 o'clock tonight. Same time frame, looks just as aggressive. We're seeing the snow in Trinity County, Hayfork, Weaverville, probably seeing accumulating snow. Rain along the coast. That snow is a little bit closer to Redding than the other forecast model we were just looking at. Okay, now we're going to take you through tonight and into tomorrow morning. Here's 1 a.m. Look at this. That snow is inching its way into places like Anderson and northwest Redding, city of Shasta Lake. Not as much for Red Bluff. Now, I will say this. Last week, this same forecast model was not as aggressive as what we're seeing right here, and we still saw that rain-snow mix. So what this tells me is this particular model is picking up on a little bit colder of a system, and that could lead to, at certain points in time, early tomorrow morning, when really most of you are asleep, it could be in the form of all snow. Now, could it accumulate? There is that possibility. Is it going to be a lot? No. Are you going to be able to wake up tomorrow morning and make a snowman? Probably not. But you can see here, we are seeing it very close. All right, let's take you into 5 a.m. There's that rain along the coast. You see by 5 a.m., now look what's happening. That snow is now shifting away from the valley. What that's meaning is, and I was telling you about this earlier, is eventually that colder air is going to mix out and snow levels will start to rise sometime early tomorrow morning. And then there you can see by 8 a.m., now it's all in the form of rain. Look at Hayfork, rain. Look at Weaverville, rain. And again, we were talking about that next batch of rain coming in Thursday afternoon. So that's kind of what it's looking like when we look at two different forecast models. Seeing a lot of the same characteristics as last week, if not on both forecast models, just a tad more aggressive with the potential for snow in the valley than we saw last week, which leads me to believe that at some point in time, Redding, North Redding, city of Shasta Lake, may see all in the form of snow for a short period of time before we start to see those snow levels rise through the morning hours. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for the areas in pink here. This is basically through Friday morning. You can see here as we take a look at the snowfall totals. These are numbers that I've kind of included myself here. In fact, no, these are coming directly from, these are numbers I put in myself through 5 p.m. Keep in mind, what you're seeing here is going to melt as we go into the morning and afternoon hours. If you see any of that accumulation tonight and early tomorrow morning. Same thing for Bernie. It will most likely melt by the time we go into the afternoon with that rain on top of that snow. But I think we could see about 4 to 8 inches in Mount Shasta City. And then by the afternoon, borderline where that rain snow line is for Mount Shasta City, Chester, upwards of a foot, maybe a foot out towards Portola as well. So it looks like some pretty impressive snowfall amounts for parts of the northern Sierra. Taking a look at the rainfall totals through Friday, again, most of this rain that you see here is going to be tonight and through the day tomorrow. But I do think we could see over an inch in the valley, a little bit more along the coast. And again, we're looking at mainly snow here, so that would be kind of the equivalency of that snow melted down to that rain total, and it doesn't look to be all that impressive. Now, switching gears, we're going to talk about the potential for severe weather. I don't think we're going to see severe thunderstorms, but we could be looking at the chance for a thunderstorm and maybe some rumbles of thunder here for tomorrow afternoon. Switching gears on top of that, we've got that flash flood risk potential. As a result, the National Weather Service has issued a flood watch until Friday night for all of the areas in green. You may recall last week when we saw that flood watch, it was for the same areas. Think about the places that saw flooding last week. There is a chance that several of those locations could see flooding again. Some of those areas maybe not as bad as last week, other areas maybe just as bad as last week, because again, we're going to be agitating a lot of these areas that have seen the recovery from the flooding, but it may not take much more rain on top of that to see those water levels rise up again. Creeks, streams, and rivers getting close to, if not even exceeding their banks. It could create some of that flooding out there. And again, can't rule out a mudslide or a debris flow as well. We do have a flood warning along the Tehama at the Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge, or Tehama Bridge at Sacramento River. We also have a wind advisory. So we're talking about snow, we're talking about rain, we're talking about the potential for flooding. We're also talking about gusty winds. Now, most of the winds won't be here until later tonight and tomorrow. Again, I got a little button happy there again. Let's take a look at that. What's going on here? That's not what I meant to do. Let's see if we can get back to those winds. The winds don't want to show up. There we go. Let's take it through time now. There's 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Today, right? Not that bad. Picking up a little bit here off to the north and west. Then by midnight tonight, 30, 40 miles an hour along the coast. Central Siskiyou County could see some very strong winds there in Shasta Valley and some gusty winds mainly east of the valley. Now the valley is beginning to see the winds pick up here for tomorrow morning, but you'll notice it's mainly down to the south. Winds are still very strong along the coast, off to the east, Central Siskiyou County. But by midday, the winds are really picking up in the valley, possibly over 30 miles per hour, possibly over 30 miles per hour for the coast, and even for parts of the east, Central Siskiyou County, Shasta Valley, still seeing some issues. Winds subsiding tomorrow afternoon for the coast, but still some very gusty winds for the valley and eastward. Then by Friday, those winds will start to die down. All right, now let's take a look at what we expect here for the rest of the day today. There you can see the mostly sunny skies, increasing clouds this afternoon, but still dry. Temperatures in the 30s, even some 40s for some of the higher elevations, and we're talking low 50s for your daytime highs along the coast. For tonight, you can see here, we're talking mid to upper 30s. So, again, take that into account when we're talking about the potential for snow. When we see temperatures of around 35, 34, even 36, you can see snow. So that's why we've got that potential maybe even as far south. We may want to put that maybe to 36 or 37. But then to the south of that, yeah, mainly in the 40s. That's because of the overcast skies. Here you can see teens and 20s, not as cold in the mountains, but still very cold nonetheless. And for the coast, those temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. All right, let's take a look at your forecast here, your next 7 days. Dry today. There's that morning mix, maybe even all snow, especially out towards Redding at a short period of time early tomorrow morning. Some scattered showers for your Valentine's Day on Friday, dry Saturday, and then really anything we see after Friday, it's going to be few and far between. It won't amount to much. It's not going to be a big deal when we're talking rain or snow for both Sunday or Monday, but the chances for some form of precipitation is certainly there. So there again, you can see the coast is dry today with that rain coming in tonight and tomorrow, and that's the same situation here for Siskiyou, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains. Snow levels will be rising through the day tomorrow, higher on your Valentine's Day, even higher on Sunday with a slight drop in those snow levels by the time we get into President's Day. But again, keep in mind, any snow you would see at that point would be very light. That's your afternoon update. I'll be back again this evening at 6 with the latest look at the forecast and maybe how low those snow levels will get. That's all coming up at 6 o'clock this evening. Have a great afternoon.